live directly from Japan, and I would like you to know that this all-around women's final from the Olympics in Tokyo are brought to you by Tumble Tumble Track has lots of goodies on sale, including their preschool speed bumps, their stall bars, and their rainbow pizza mat. Who doesn't want a rainbow pizza mat, you guys? Tumble Track, if you want to check them out, go to TUMBLTRAK. That's tumbletrack.com and train smart. You guys, so easily. Sunisa, Minnesota. I was always so hurt that I had to do bars constantly. Lee is the Olympic all-around champion. Also, Rebecca, 3 ACLs. Andrade of Brazil is our silver medalist. Angelina, first team gold medal for Russia, star of the all-around series. Melnikova is our bronze medalist. We got yet another bars finals preview tonight. We even had a costume change midway through the meet. This meet was so good, you guys. This is episode 44 for July 29th here in Japan at the Olympic Games. And welcome to the #1 gymnastics podcast in the galaxy. I'm Jessica. I'm here with Spencer from the Balance Beam Situation and Kensley, our wonderful men's gymnastics expert. Oh my God, you guys. Welcome to our sleep-deprived immediate reactions without the deep analysis that we usually do. We have a week to prepare for these shows. We are getting all of your questions. We're going to try to answer them all. But first of all, let's talk about the results. Spencer.
I mean, you did already tell us what the results were like 1 second ago. But Sunisa Lee is the Olympic all-around champion.
Oh. Kensley, would you like to give us the 4th place through other people we might care about?
Sure. We can go a little bit farther than that. So in 8th place, we had Jade Carey making her international all-around debut. And then we had Tang Shijing from China, who had a terrible day and still managed to finish in 7th.
She pulled it back. She brought that DTY back. She was like, now that it's not for the team, I got it.
Yeah. Nina Derval of Belgium had Belgium's highest all-around finish. She beat her own record and she was in 6th. Mai Murakami, who had a not very good qualifying, ended up finishing all the way up in 5th, followed by Russia's or the ROC's Vlada Urozova. And then in 3rd place from the all-around series, Angelina Melnikova. In 2nd place from Brazil's first ever gymnastics medal for women, Rebecca Andrade. And in 1st place, Miss 1, Sunisa Lee.
And we think that Suni is from the Golden Series on
We
Peacock.
think that she's from the Golden?
We know she's from Golden.
Guys,
Also, she's from being a gymnast. She's not like
I'm distracted.
She wasn't born on this series.
You know who I am.
Also, Emily Lee had the best tweet of the day so far because Deanna Hung was like, yes, Sunisa Lee from Golden. And Emily Lee was like, you mean Sunisa Lee from Vault? Because Golden was supposed to be called Vault originally.
Right? And she said that she didn't want it to be called Golden because
So.
Oh yeah. So we think Lauren from the Gym Turn and I were discussing this. We're sitting next to each other and we're like, we're pretty sure that she's the first Asian American Olympic. She's the first Asian American Olympic all-around champion. Duh. But the first Asian.
I don't know.
Olympic,
maybe Mary Lou.
Olympic champion ever. I mean, obviously the first Hmong Olympic champion, but we don't know if any of the Soviets. The Soviet all-around champions, how they identify. So I don't want to put an absolute on that, but any of the Soviet champions, please let us know if you identify as Asian or not, and then we can have a definitive answer. But either way, it's very exciting for gymnastics, for Asian Americans, for Asian gymnasts, and I'm so stoked, you guys. Okay, so
it was really exciting competition.
It was so good.
It could have been a mess. This had high catastrophe possibilities.
It did.
And for the most part, it wasn't. China might disagree. They're like, we're pretty sure this meet was a catastrophe. But for everyone else, it went okay.
Yeah, I thought one of the most impressive things for me was that it was clear that Sunisa and her coach knew the code and knew what was worth risking and what wasn't worth risking. And for example, on Beam, usually she does a triple wolf turn and then immediately a double wolf turn. And she was having a wobble on the triple wolf turn. And so she just decided to take out the second wolf turn, which may have saved her and allowed her to be on the podium.
Yep. And if you watch the Golden Series, you know that basically her coach is just constantly scoring her, constantly doing the shorthand, knows the code backwards and forwards. And it's one of those really, I mean, this is the thing. You have to know the code, right? Just like Belgium hacking the code. This is how you get here. And like, speaking of Beam, I want to start with talking about Beam because this is when it got crazy. Like, this is when I had to hold on to Scott Bregman because Lauren wouldn't let me touch her. She smacked my hand away again. So I was like, who can I touch? So you guys, so going into the third rotation, Andrade was leading Suni by 0.066. Are those numbers in the right order? 0.066. A very small margin, right? So then okay, Jade falls on her series on Beam. So Jade's out of the equation now. Not that she was really going to be in the top 3, but just for sure she's out of the equation because you never know what's going to happen. It's Russia on Beam and whatnot. Scott Bregman says, we made it through, Jess. Somehow I'm proud of us. I'm so proud of us. Then Nina Derwal from Belgium balked on a connection and stopped because she was off on Beam. And so she was sort of like, that was going to be a big deduction for her. Then Melnikova did Beam, you guys, and this was like the beam of her life. Like, she had one wobble at the beginning, and then I swear she was like angry fire Beam for the rest of the time in her hot pink Nastia tribute metallic pink leotard.
I don't characterize this as angry Beam.
What do you characterize?
I feel like she does not bring like angry gymnastics mood. She's like started doing like not terrified Beam.
I feel like she did. I am not falling no matter what. I don't care what happens. Nothing will rip me off this beam after that first wobble. Like, she was more on, like, I felt more fight in her than I'd ever seen on Beam before from her. That's was the feeling. I mean, she was radiating those feelings to me because I was there in the arena. So I could obviously feel it wafting off of her in like bedazzled pink bloops through the air. So then Suni's up. So Suni goes, and like Kensley was talking about, Suni does her first wolf turn. Okay, second wolf turn, and then like has a arm wave back, a little arch in her back. I was like, oh my God, no! But she stayed on, you guys.
That was just her first wolf turn. She only did one.
Didn't she do 2? Oh no,
she took out the second one.
In my imagination, she did 2 because it was so terrifying. And always one wolf turn literally feels like 1,000. So she did that little balance check, and I was like, oh no, it's over for her. But then she maybe had like a 0.3 pause on a leap series. Like, I felt like maybe there was a little, she had one little arm, like choreography arm check.
Yeah, I mean, it was not like her best beam by any means. It was a nervous.
It was tentative. It was very tentative.
But she stayed on. She did what she needed to do to remain on the beam. At that point, I was like, okay, she can get silver. Like, that was my expectation at that point. I was like, that probably took away enough tenths that gold's going to be difficult, but
yeah, and she
not being the case.
She stuck her vault, her bars, and her beam dismount.
I mean, Jessica's jumped to beam, but Suni's vault, that was the best Yurchenko double full she's ever done.
Ever.
That was the tone she wanted to start with.
If we continue with Beam, people had a lot of questions about Rebecca Andrade's score.
I'm people.
Yeah, because hold on, wait, let me talk about this for a second. So like Suni goes, and it wasn't her best beam, and I was like, oh, she's done. It's out. It's over for her. Only a silver. And then Andrade goes, and Andrade's beam was fantastic. I thought her beam was magnificent. But the thing is, I'm watching it from straight ahead. I didn't have the angle. So And did you guys see that this happened? This made me so mad. So we're gonna go through Andrade's beam in a second. But after she was done, it was so obvious that her beam was so great that freaking Hoda was there again from the Today Show, and Hoda was like, put her hands up to her eyeballs and made the wah wah baby like back and forth with her fist in front of her eyes at Suni and Jade. And I was like, what is she doing? I just want to be like, don't look at that woman. And then she's like, and then Suni, like, I don't know if you guys, Spencer, you made a gif of it. Like, Suni is like looking up at the crowd and was like, no, don't cry. It's fine. You're going to make me cry. And because it was so obvious that Andrade had like knocked Suni out because her beam was so good, right? But then.
No, you're reading something into it that is not part of this at all.
No, that's definitely what happened. And then, okay, so Kensley, tell me about Andrade's beam and her score.
So obviously I'm on the podcast as the men's expert and not the women's expert. So this is like a relatively well-informed like perception of like a good fan. And Matt and I were watching together and I was saying, oh, like she's not going to get credit for this. It's not high enough. She's not hitting 180. I told him before the score came up, I said, I think this is going to be a pretty low score. And it came up and it was low. And so I was like, yeah, that was what I expected. And then all of Twitter was like, what happened? The score's too low. So
well, something can be both what you expected and too low at the same time.
Yeah, I think what people were complaining about was maybe relative to how the rest of beam scoring was going, that it was too low relatively. But if it had been judged just like without any comparison, that would have been a fine score. So Spencer, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's where I am. You can see the things you pointed out, the split positions, some of the toes, but it was so solid. And for it to be, what was it, 4/10 lower than Orazova and Melnikova on execution, I thought that was
unacceptable,
not necessarily justifiable.
It wasn't the most It was not the most egregious scoring that happened in this meet. I would say that still belongs to Vault.
Good Lord, that Vault scoring was terrible.
I can't wait till we get to Vault after we do the exciting conclusion, grand finale recap right here, because even I was like, what the? So, all right. So we were all the whole media section was like, what the hell? With her, and also we were sitting right in front of the Brazilians. My God, you guys, they're worse than the Russians. Like, they had flags, they were standing up and cheering, they went nuts. Like,
You mean the Brazilian media?
Yeah,
not the like
there's
Brazilian,
not the Brazilian Federation. Right, it was the Brazilian media were right in front of us, and I was like, I mean, there's all these warnings about the media has to stay objective and can't do this and that, and then it's like out the window. Anyway, so Andrade does an inquiry, and we're like, oh, thank God, because obviously that score was outrageously low. As Spencer said, you could see his rage just flying off the page, just like mine. So the page of Twitter. So then Andrade's score got changed. It was that got changed to a 13,666.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was a 10 lower.
2/10. She got 2/10 of D score added, I think.
Yeah, so in prelims, she got a 13,733. She had a 5.8D, but her score got changed to be a 570 and a 7.9, which was about the same E that she got in prelims. Look, 796 was her E here tonight, and in prelims it was 7.933.
Yeah, the updated score made a little more sense.
Yeah. I thought so too. And I was just like, because I was just like, I was like, oh my God, if she loses because of this beam thing, it's going to be a whole scandal and it's going to be a thing. And people are going to say the fix is in. Obviously not me. I would never think anything like that because there's never been a scandal in gymnastics judging, you guys. So it would have been fine. But I was so happy they changed it. And so I could just like rest and not have to do any Kensley style greatest gymnastics investigations of all time. So you guys, so now we're going to the fourth rotation. Now Andrade's score has been changed. So now Andrade is in second. Suni is in first going into floor. And so now Melnikova goes. And did you guys notice what happened on the podium before Melnikova went? Did they show it on TV?
They didn't show it, but you had tweeted that she did a full turn, right?
Yes, and I was so worried. I was like, please don't let any judges have seen that she did a full turn because you're not allowed to warm up. But there have been a couple people, there have been a couple round, like cartwheels and roundoffs and handstands and full turns done on the podium, and no one has taken a deduction. So I'm like, okay, thank God. Like the Gadarovas did some, and I was like, oh Jesus, you guys already got that neutral deduction. Don't be doing that. So I was really glad that didn't happen. And then her double layout, I thought it was good. It was stuck right, but it was funkier than normal. Her full twisting double layout,
I thought it looked as normal as it usually does.
I thought it was a little funkier than normal. And then she kind of fell out a little bit on her double turn, like didn't fall on her face, but she had a little boop. Not her best routine, I would say. It was fine, but it wasn't great. So I was like, okay, well, she's not winning. Like that's what's happening now. And then Suni goes. And
did you see the false start?
No.
At least on the broadcast, she went to start her routine, and then she had to come back to her starting pose, and then the music started, and she went again. And they did not take a neutral deduction. And there were several people commenting on it on Twitter. And I told Matt, I was like, oh my God, she just lost the all around. She did a false start. But they didn't take a deduction.
I wonder if yesterday's no saluting has made them, well, I mean, this is a totally different set of judges. Obviously, it's a completely different competition. But I just wonder if they're kind of like, let's not take deductions for stupid things. Like, you know?
I don't know. She definitely had a false start, though.
Oh, I totally didn't see it. Oh my God, thank God.
I don't think it would have ended up making a difference because she was more than a 10th ahead, but
yeah. So she's in the lead, firmly now. Did a great job. Then Andrade goes, and I was like, oh my God, because Andrade has great floor, and her tumbling is great. So I'm sweating balls over here. And then, is that a thing? Anyway, she goes out of bounds twice. My heart. She went out of bounds twice. I thought she might have been a little bit short on her switch half. So she got 0.4 off for out of bounds deductions. And I think she knew it after that routine that was like, not going to happen for her.
It was still very close though.
Yes. And so go ahead.
Yeah, when she did her second out of bounds, I was like, that's it. Like Sunisa has done it. She's won. And the dadgum camera spent their entire time looking at Andrade. And I was like, where's the camera on Sunisa Lee where I can see her?
Andrade was the one who had done her routine and was getting a score.
But we're about to see who won. So they should have done a split camera.
It could have been Andrade.
They should have done the split camera though. Like they have enough cameras to do that. But anyway, who ended up winning?
Sunisa Lee.
And I just because of that, I have a little gift for Jessica.
All right, listen. She's holding up a humble pie, a picture of humble pie. And listen, I'll have you know. So you guys, if you're watching the behind the scenes, I don't have my my camera on because the Wi-Fi here has decided to just be like, you're using more than anyone that's ever stayed here. So cut it out. So I have issued a formal statement on the Twitters, and my formal statement said that I am glad that Sunisa Lee knew better to choose herself to do all around than I did. So she was right. Sunisa knows herself better than I did, and hats off to her for making the right choice for her.
So throwback to explain what we're talking about. Jessica, after Classic, confidently proclaimed skyward that Sunisa Lee should stop doing vault and floor this year because of her ankle and just focus on getting the +1 spot for bars and beam.
First of all, I still have said if she doesn't need an ankle replacement by the time she's 30, I will write all that on a piece of paper and eat it. But that still remains for her ankle health. I still say that was a good decision. But she might be able to afford like 17 new ankles now because she's going to be the all around champion. I mean, she is the all around champion.
So we talked about, Kensley, you can go ahead.
I was going to ask, do you think that she will go pro, or do you think that she'll continue to go to Auburn and take the NIL money?
At this point, I think there's no way she's going to go to Auburn. On the other hand, if she has a really smart agent who really understands NIL, she will realize that being in the press and in the news and on TV regularly, she can make more money with NIL. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think she's going to go pro.
I think she's going to go Auburn NIL.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you've said that like Auburn has a ton of money. Didn't one of your family members go to Auburn?
My entire family has gone to Auburn. My dad was a D1 athlete on the track and field team. My mom helped write Bo Jackson's Heisman Trophy speech. Like, Auburn is deep within her bloods. I don't know. I think she will want that.
You're definitely not biased in saying that she's gonna for sure go there, right?
I'm not biased at all.
Of course.
I think it would be. I think Auburn's program has been building. I think this is their third elite. They had Caitlin. And then they had Abby Millier, and then I think this Sunisa would be their third. Maybe Olivia was also elite, but regardless, they've had very few elites, and I think that this could really elevate their program if she goes there. Obviously, she has to do what's best for her, but I think she would actually earn more money. I think she would have more time in the news if she does stay in the NCAA.
Yeah. I mean, I hope she doesn't feel the pressure to take care of her family and like especially take care of her dad for going pro and like the instant money, and I feel like she will feel that pressure. Even though she could make more in the long run. But I just hope no one talks to her about any of that stuff until the whole thing is over and she's at home, and let her just enjoy this and not talk about that yet. But yeah, she's going to need an agent fast if she's going to make the money off the things right away. Spencer, what do you think?
I don't care. Can I talk about things I care about now?
Please do. Spencer.
I got very bored during that conversation. I want to talk about Suni's floor routine and the D score decision and not doing her fourth pass, not doing the double tuck.
That's
so
brilliant.
Because we started talking about the beam thing, which I think was an in the moment decision, and I was like, maybe just like she forgot to do the double wolf turn. But on floor, that was like an intentional recomposition decision to ditch the double tuck. And she ended up getting her highest floor score of the entire Olympics so far by getting rid of one of her passes. And I think that it was a very intelligent decision that played out in her favor. And it's like exactly what we were talking about. Like the code wants you, especially on floor, to do less. Mm-hmm. Like be Nina. Nina always gets really good scores on floor, and she's doing like a double tuck. And then some D dance elements, and is having like a 5.0 D score, and she scores better than Jordan Childs.
And this goes back to when we talked about the difference between Emily Lee's E-score and Skinner's E-score on beam. And I was like, how is this possible? And it's because Skinner's routine is put together in a smarter way in terms of the code, because she does less skills, less deductions. This is the smart way to do it. So it was genius to do that. Genius. Did less. But it's so awesome. And also to be a gymnast that like knows I can quick change my routine around is so great too. And just and that's not everybody can do that.
It's a necessity at this point. And we've heard so many, like I've heard multiple US coaches say things like, oh, my gymnast could never handle having multiple routines or like multiple compositions. And it's like they probably could, you're just not giving them enough credit, and that is a necessary skill.
Yep. And you need to know the code. Like, you need to know the code, and you need to know how to do a backup and change stuff around. So, yeah. We have a comment.
Disney tampons. Do you think other coaches will take note of Jess's coaching style of learning the code and making sure your athlete is just as familiar with it? I mean, it's hard to say.
You would have thought
But
everybody would have done this years ago because of the Dutch and Belgium, but
yeah, but I think they should, because it's necessary to at least be comfortable with many different backup options.
yep.
So that even if it's not something that happens in the moment, but it's just like in training, or you go to a meet and say you have a double tuck at the end of your routine, and then you're getting like 3/10 minimum every time you do it, and it's like, oh, if I just got rid of this double tuck, I would score higher. Being able to adapt on the fly based on how you're being evaluated internationally is very important.
Mm-hmm. And I think I just want to tell you guys a little bit about the press conference. So the press conference, one thing to know about the press conference is they have this great app that you just change what language you want to hear the translation in, and it's simultaneous translation. So we don't have to wait for someone to talk and then translate. We can hear it right away. So the athletes have this in their ear too, and we all have it in our ear, except some perhaps older white middle-aged men who just left their phones on and did not use headphones. My god. Seriously, you guys, I can't even with this. So anywho, the press conference, a couple of highlights from that. One is that they all went around and said a statement first, and every one of them thanked their coaches and especially their medical teams for getting them here and
For
all
taping me together so that I could compete at the Olympics.
And even Melnikova was like, I've had so many injuries, I've had so many problems. And Suni said she wanted to quit at one point because she had so many injuries. And Andrade, we know obviously she's on her third ACL right now. So and she talked about wanting to quit as well. And Rachel Axon at the very end from USA Today asked them all, did you guys she said she asked Simone has been so dominant for so long, and so many gymnasts have talked about just being happy that they could, win first place, in the non-Simone category. Did that enter your minds when you before the meet today? And they all, like Suni and Andrade, looked at each other and laughed and were like, yeah, that's totally a thing. And Suni said specifically that like the team kind of helped her. She kind of got in her head with like pressure to win because Simone wasn't there. And her team kind of just said like, ignore it, do your thing. And Andrade talked about how she was just so happy to be here and that she's gone through so much and missed so much time and always felt so behind because of her comebacks and injuries. And that no matter what, like it meant so much for her and it meant so much for like the legacy of Brazilian gymnastics, and that this was for a generation, not just for her. And Melnikova talked about how much she appreciated Simone, and all of them are just completely blown away by Simone and how much they admire her. And it was just, they were so complimentary to each other. They all were, I mean, Suni especially was like listening to the translations of her fellow, medalists, and was like nodding along and looking at them, be like, yep, same girl. It was like they were just so lovely. And I was thinking when I was walking out of there, I was talking to a friend and I was like, was that so different from the men's press conference when the Russian men had to issue an apology the next day? Nagorny issued an apology when he won his bronze, and he said, like, I'm so sorry about how we acted at the men's team at the press conference the night before, because we were just so excited and we were talking to our families and we just weren't paying attention and we just didn't. I'm so sorry for how we behaved. And I was like, yeah, of the press conference I've been to, like the men's press conferences are like a little bit of anarchy when it's team, compared to
I'm so surprised by this information.
except Kenzo. Kenzo was always like the most
just in general men's press conferences.
Yeah, in general.
I thought you were like, except for Kenzo, he showed up in the media area, and I was like, wait, what?
No. Kenzo, when he won, he would always just talk about like other people and not himself. And anyway, they were all just lovely and chatting with each other and complimenting each other. And We Lauren and I were talking afterwards about how Andrade is like a motivational speaker. I was like, I mean, she has overcome a lot to get here. And everything she said was just I just felt like, oh, I can do it. Like whatever I set my mind to, I can do it. I was like, Horton has really got competition in the motivational speaker corporate, tour category because Andrade was amazing. Oh, and of course, the Brazilian media went in there with the Brazilian flag, and I was just like, oh my god. But anyway, because that's like, to me, that's like, oh, you're state sponsored media. Like you're not independent if you're running around with the flag. Another person stood up for the American anthem, and I was like, you're also not supposed to do that. Like we're not. You didn't stand for any other anthem, so I feel like you should not stand for the American anthem. But anyway, uh, these are the things that happened a little bit behind the scenes. But anyway, the press conference they're just so nice. They're just lovely.
I think one thing that was really nice to see was how happy each of the medalists were. I think oftentimes you'll go into a press conference and someone is unhappy with one of their medals. Usually it's like the silver medalist is unhappy. And just to see the joy that was exuding from Andrade it felt really good. It was, yeah, happy.
Felicia says, where can we watch the press conference? We are technically not allowed to like stream it, but I think a lot of other press that have rights have put it up on their YouTube channel. So I think if you just Google Andrade and SUNY press conference, you'll be able to get it. I watched some of the other ones from a couple days ago. There are a few that are up on YouTube. Spencer, is it time to hear about balls?
I think it always is, apparently, according to how often we do these advertisements now. But we need everyone to know that support for Gymcastic is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Almost, one might say, the best in the galaxy, or the universe, to borrow a phrase from Gymcastic. Manscaped has just launched the 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0, a name that never ceases to make Jessica giggle. Every single time. Lawnmower 4.0, there's a little wheeze. So as I have discussed multiple times on this show right now, it's been a game changer. Excellent. Have not had any other razor experience that matched the speed or ease of this one. Jessica, do you have stories that we have not yet heard about Manscaped that need to be shared with the world?
Yeah,
and I should add, I tried to convince Coop to do this ad, and he refused. And I would just like that stated for the record.
So now I'm going to have to talk about his smooth balls.
Yeah.
You guys, they're just excellent. I mean, really, like he tried out the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0, and I have to say, I tested them, and it really is the smoothest shave. I can highly recommend it. I mean, Kensley, you're getting married soon. Do you want? I mean, is this on your what's the gift list for weddings called? Your registry?
My registry. I am getting married in 3 weeks, but maybe I should add this to my registry, and then I can also participate in the announcements and ads for Manscaped
for balls.
I'm so impressed that you participated in Jessica's flight of fancy here instead of just shutting this down. That's amazing. That's tremendous. So yeah, anyway, at least 2 of the 3 of us are fans, and maybe soon to be all 3 of us will be happy customers. And you too can be a happy customer and get 20% off and free shipping with the code Gymcastic20 at manscaped.com. So that's 20% off and free shipping, manscaped.com with the code Gymcastic20.
Manscaped, not just another razor for straights. Oh, we have excited congratulations that Kensley is getting married next month. It's almost this month. It's like in 4 weeks or something.
Yeah. Everyone
said 3 weeks.
Everyone should bully Spencer into coming because Jessica and Coop and Scott and Lauren are coming and Spencer's staying home.
Just saying.
Oh my gosh. I was just telling my husband I might try Manscaped because I trust Spencer and his balls.
My work is done.
Oh my god. Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh.
So let's start talking some more about this competition and let's go through some rotations.
Yes.
Can we talk about
feel like I would like to go through we've talked mostly about the medalists, but I want to go through them and see are there other routines from the 3 medalists we want to talk about, and then we can go through like our rotations and talk about some other people, because I do still want to talk about Suni's bars.
Yes.
Because she went for the difficulty, and it was a choice and it worked out, but for a second you thought it wasn't. Could you guys see from your angle in the arena how crooked she was on her mega combination at the beginning?
Yes. And there was a journalist, I don't know his name, but there was a journalist who asked a question about that, and he named all the skills, and I went up to him afterwards because he seemed like a normal, not like a gym nerd, because I don't know him. So I went up and congratulated him. I was like, that was such a good question. Like, thank you for asking that question. So she said, like, she was like, oh, I thought I was off. She was like, I thought that might be it. Because she was so crooked, but she's like, I guess it worked out. So yeah.
She did her Nabieva to Bardwaj, and then the Bardwaj was tilting, and then she's like, I'm gonna go, and her Maloney after that, she was just fully diagonal. I felt like
it was.
She found the bar. She did a ginger out of it. She got a 15-3, which was a higher bar score than Nina got in this competition.
Yes. We had another. So correct me if I'm wrong, because numbers. Mm-hmm. Have they gone first, second? They have alternated places every competition in bars?
Nina got a higher score in qualification. They got the same score in the team final, and now
except
Suni.
Nina's
execution was higher.
Yes.
In team final, so
that would have been Nina on the tiebreak.
Mm-hmm.
But they got the same score, and then here Suni got the highest score. This is the first indication that, I thought the first 2 pieces of evidence pointed toward Nina. This one pointed more toward Suni because she could be cleaner on that combination. Like, there were certainly deductions that she was incurring on her mega combo. It was also not Nina's best. I thought that was appropriate that this bar score for her was just a little bit lower than the other ones she had. Her dismount was a little more out of control. She had few more angle deductions.
Yeah, it's really hard from where I am to see the angle deductions, but I've been keeping that in mind. Every time I'm outraged about the E-score, I'm like, I can't see the angles, so I'm just going to wait to see what Spencer and Kensley tell me.
So anyway, I thought the change in Nina's score was about right. That was about appropriate.
Yeah. Any other bar routines you want to talk? I want to talk about
I think we should talk about the Chinese bar routines.
Oh.
Yeah, it started
Liu
Yufei started that first rotation with a fall. What do you guys think that
just
Chow
went downhill from there?
Do you guys think that Chow is gonna keep his spot in China? Doesn't he technically have a contract through 24?
I don't know what his contract is, but this is like something went wrong for China here. Like, it wasn't just, oh, you had a bad day once. It was a huge struggle across multiple gymnasts. This wasn't like one person. It was the whole team basically in the team final. And then both in the all-around final having falls. And yeah, something was up. If I were China, I would be like, let's analyze what went wrong and maybe try to come up with some solutions.
Spencer, can you tell me a little bit about what happened with Brooklyn Moore's beam? I saw that she had put in an inquiry and that it was rejected, but what did she not get credit for?
My impression is that it was just like basically every combination.
Okay.
It was, she stayed on. Brooklyn stayed on everyone. A number of wobbles and pauses, and I think they were just like, no, let's see. We'll have to ask Dennis again.
The other thing that was really, really stark to me in the first rotation was the difference between Andrade's and Jade's Chung.
Oh, we have to talk about this because this was the
I
this is
just
we have to gym nerd out on these scores.
yeah,
Okay.
Andrade in her pre-flight had no leg separation. She had no leg twisting form. She had huge block. She did land off to the side,
Mhm.
but it was an incredible vault.
It
And
was
then
beautiful.
She almost held that stick too, and I feel like
almost,
that's
it was
what
like a
took
college stick,
it
really.
was, but
Yep.
because she was a little leaning a little forward
Mhm.
and took that little hop forward. But I actually her score in itself, which got a 15-3 with a 6 OD score, I thought that was appropriate. I was just surprised that Carrie's score was as close to Andrade's as it was.
Right. This is where I was losing my mind because Jade does her chung. She has crossed legs. She gets more distance, so she has
She does get more
power,
distance.
but the amplitude is not there. Like she and Skinner are very similar in that they are really fast twisters and they just zoom far away, but they don't get the block. And I just was like, these are not a 10th difference. These two
Mhm.
vaults are much farther apart in execution. And what was it that Pam Chenkova suggested today? That maybe pre-flight and post-flight should be separated into 2 separate e-scores?
I think what Pam Chankova was suggesting was that for vault, you should be able to do video review because vault scoring ends so much earlier than all the other events. So it really wouldn't change the time of the meet, but it would allow to take better deductions.
Pam Chenkova is a person on Twitter that we're all obsessed with, and we desperately want to know who this person is, and no one knows. And I like it that way too because they're just a great source of all information about everything. Yeah, we need to fix Vault, and we've been talking about this since for ages, and they haven't fixed Vault, and
And one of the other things about Jade's vault, because it was good, I thought it was not as good as her qualification vault.
I agree.
And yet, I'm getting her qualification vault score here. Qualification Chung was 15,166, and this was 15,2. And I think it was clearly like she had her qualification one was really strong. When she did that, you were like, oh, she's making the vault final with this one. And this one the landing was a little less controlled. She had, a noteworthy hop back and yet got a higher score. And I know they switch out the judges, but it's like you'd like some consistency. The point is kind of that you should have any judging panel and they can come to a reasonable score.
I think one of the most egregious scores for me on vault today was Roxana Popa's.
I think I missed her vault.
Her vault was incredible. Legs
so good.
glued together pre-flight. She had a great block. She did not twist her feet in the air, and she stuck it right down the middle. And her vault scored less than Melnikova's.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is not the same vault in any way, shape, or form. And Melnikova's vault has improved, but it wasn't this good.
She got all kind of legs. This is the problem with Melnikova's vault. All kind of legs happening. And like Popa too, like there's a reason that everyone loves her from all around the world. Like her form is so freaking good. It's not just her eyeliner and her great dance. Like she is a great gymnast, and she didn't have a great day today. She had a fall on bars, 2 falls on bars. She missed her shapash, and then she tried it again and fell again. And then she's like, ugh, squat on low bar, just grab the high bar and do her dismount. And her dismount's so perfect. It's like a perfect board straight full twisting double layout. I love her so much. I love her floor. She's doing her whip back handspring something hard. Is it a double layout? Her floor pass. Anyway, it's really cool. Whip double lay. Thank you, Paula. Yeah, I could watch her all day. But it wasn't a great.
And we started talking about Jade. So you guys were saying I missed her warm-ups on bars, but you guys were saying from the arena that Jade was falling like all over the place in the touch warm-up on bars.
Yeah, it wasn't looking good.
And then she had like the best routine of her life.
She ditched the ginger out of the church because she usually does a toe on pike to Kachev to immediate ginger, or that's her intended like best composition. She did not do the ginger this time. which I think was a smart move because if she was struggling in the touch warm up.
Yeah, but her legs were glued, her toes were pointed. The best routine I can ever remember her doing.
I honestly, after that, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so much closer. Like, holy crap, this made it so good. Did we talk about Melanie yet? Melanie de Jesus dos Santos?
No, we haven't really gotten to the sad parts yet.
Let's mix them in. Let's sprinkle those.
Okay. Yeah, it just from the beginning, it was very clear that today was not going to be Melanie de Jesus dos Santos's day. Her Nabieva to Pack series combination immediately to start her bars routine. She had to tuck completely her pack and I think brushed the mat. Although on the replay, they cut off the bottom of her legs. And I was like, so this is not a helpful replay, but thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Beam was very wobbly. She had a short landing on floor. It wasn't there for her today.
Someone on Twitter compared her to Sam in that she is so immensely talented, but just never seems to hit well in the world and Olympics. And I thought that was actually a pretty fair comparison.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think she needs a change. So she needs some change. Either it's different coaches or a different environment or, therapy or move somewhere else.
Are you trying to get her to move to be coached by Cecile? Is that what
that's exactly what's happening? That's exactly what she said.
We all see where this is going. You're going to be like, and she's French, and they're French, and they're just going to French and love each other so much.
Man. I'm just saying that I didn't have to say it. You guys got it. So I agree with you guys that would be what you should do.
That would be really interesting if Laurent and Cecile stayed in Houston and then they ended up coaching an American who made the Olympic team and someone who's French who made the French team, and they were like on opposite sides coaching each other.
Let's make more international coaching situations happen. It's so weird how nationalistic gymnastics coaching is, and I hate it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else in the second rotation. Oh, Lika switched her leotard, right?
Yes.
That wasn't me going crazy, right?
No, she did. She started off with this red, white, and blue one, which is the Dutch flag, same as us. And it had like a little bodicey thing. It had some flowers on the blue part. And then 2 rotations in, she switched to this black and orange, very like Oregon State. Also Dutch orange elegance leotard. And I wonder if I feel like, well, she didn't make any other finals, so she wants to wear all of her leotards. So why not change in the middle to a new leotard? I love it. It's so Dutch.
So we don't know if there was like a break. Was the first leotard was compromised?
That's the thing. I investigated that and did not find any evidence that there was a reason.
She started on floor. Maybe she was like, this leotard goes with my floor routine and fits thematically. And then after that, she changed for her like other routines. Leo.
I like how you said that, and I said it's cursed because she started with it on floor, so then she had to change. Oh yeah,
because she did miss on floor.
She fell on floor. Yeah. So either way, I love a costume change. That's excellent, and we need more of this. Everyone needs a floor Leo and a beam Leo, and then whatever else you want to wear, but it should always match a theme. Let's see. We talked about Leica. Kovac. We didn't talk about Kovac.
Oh my gosh, her beam. She is beautiful there. She did end up falling on her side tummy, but her extension, her height on her leaves, I just thought she was beautiful to watch.
She's beautiful. It was going great because
she was great on bars. She's upgraded that routine a ton. She's doing semi the like Melnikova or Razova composition, but she changes it up more often because she has more options. I thought her bars was excellent, and her beam was going so wonderfully. She had like 1 3/4 of an amazing meet.
I also loved her. She's beautiful on bars. We've talked about her a lot on bars over the years, and she had a beautiful like Slytherin themed Leo on. Today was like a green with all kinds of business going on in the front, and I just really liked it. It was like a strong green, and it wasn't all metallic-y and like, you know, it wasn't too much. It was just right.
I think, the other person really to mention is Jessica Gadarova, who ended up placing 10th in the all around, which is, I believe, the highest score for a British gymnast ever, which is I think the Gadarovas are going to take British gymnastics to the next level. And every time that they give a new interview, I cry. I think they're, no, they're so genuine and seem very kind in their interviews and just very thankful to be here and happy with their success. And I've enjoyed watching them a lot. And they're both crazy good at floor.
Yeah, and Jessica did that 10th place finish with a fall on
with
beam.
a fall.
With
So
a
that's
freaking
the
fall.
sign of that's the sign of you're taking a program to the next level if you can do a historic finish with a fall.
Yeah, she would have been 6th. She would have tied Nina Derval if she hadn't have fallen.
She was 2 points behind Nina.
Oh, can I wait? Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
It wasn't me who made a math this time. Huh.
She would have been in the next spot behind Nina, but yes.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Ollie Hogbin, who told us about the Gadarovas long ago, and has been announcing at their meets for years.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Shout out to you, Ollie. He's very busy here doing non-gymnastics, which is But did you see him take a picture with Celine Van Gerner, who's here doing media, and they drew whiskers on their masks? Shut up with you're so cute. I can't even stand it. I'm hoping the Gadarovas will really get their form to the next level. Like their gymnastics is really good, but like especially on bars, the working on the form. That's like the
really
thing that's
interesting to see twins with such a different strength, because Jennifer really struggles on bars, and Jessica is like, it's not her strongest event, obviously, vault and floor, but she's much more comfortable in that event.
Is there anything else for women's?
I was going to say, I would like a very specific commendation to both Elizabeth Seitz and Kim Bowie for both hitting beam in an Olympic all-around final. Because who saw that one coming? They both stayed on beam.
And also, Kim Bowie rocked the unitard with extra sparkles. This one was like sparkles. It's a final. And Ellie Seitz were like a blue, kind of a royal blue Leo and just regular Leo, because in Germany there are many options. And we like that. Did we talk about, is there anybody that we missed? Anybody that you guys want us to talk about who are on here live? Whose gymnastics we may not have discussed. There was a really funny fall on beam today. I don't know if you guys saw it. It was I can't remember if it was a split jump or just a beat jump. And she missed one foot and just sat down on the beam, but got right back up. But it was like a boop. Oh my.
We have to talk about so basically everyone. What we're getting from the comments is that we have to talk about the people we need to talk about more are everyone. I was so impressed at my bringing it today after 2 not so ideal competitions, and you could see it right from the beginning, because she started on beam and she was just like, no, this is a good day, and you can tell that because my turns are good. That's the sign for if her beam turns are good, then it's going to be a good day, and they were good today. Also, I thought her vault score compared to some other Yurchenko double fulls was low in the screwy vault scoring, because her Yurchenko double full was fantastic and right down the center and basically stuck, and 14.533, also lower than Melnikova.
Jill just asked us to talk about that we should always talk about Brooklyn Moores on floor, and once again, I watched Brooklyn Floors. That's her new name. Brooklyn Moores from Canada on floor. The most beautiful, the most naturally artistic, naturally emotive, absolute perfect dancer who we are lucky to have in the sport of gymnastics, because she could be in any professional company anywhere in the world, and I stand by that. Don't at me, Russians, with your ballet. Um, she, once again, it made me freaking cry, you guys. It's just so good. The music, the choreography, the way she performs, and her Podkopayeva just gets higher and higher. It's so beautiful. Like, I feel like they should stop the freaking competition when she's on floor. Like, how does anyone go on when Brooklyn Lors is on floor? It's just like, I know we're lucky to live in the time of Simone, but having seen Brooklyn Lors do that floor routine in particular so many times, I feel like completely honored. Like, this is what the people that must have seen like the Soviet greats must have felt like seeing those floor routines. Like, it's just an honor every time I get to see her. I can't talk about, I'm gonna cry again because
Someone asked why Jade did not do the triple double in finals tonight. And to me, this was the time to go for it. She knew she wasn't going to make an all-around medal.
We talked about that yesterday. I'm thinking it must not be close in training.
Yeah, it must not be. And I don't think that we'll see it here. If she didn't do it today, I don't think we'll see it.
Because she can, legit medal on floor without it. So why would you risk it? But yeah, it must be like, I think if it were safe, they were confident that it was a safe landing, she probably would have gone for it. So I'm thinking maybe because they submitted it as a new skill, so they were, at least it was maybe in mind, and I'm thinking in training it hadn't been going great. That is my guess. Also, Vladislava Orazova's beam, someone requested we talk about, which was the highest beam score for anyone by a number of tenths. She got a 14.2. It was super solid. And I was kind of thinking, like, she's what ended up happening. She finished fourth, very close to Melnikova, but in fourth. And that was she was going to be lurking around the medals, but there were people who could outscore her if they hit, which is what happened. But then after that 14.2 beam, I was like, wait a second. She's basically just a little bit of floor difficulty away from being one of the top all-arounders in the world. / after this year. You get it, Orazova and Listunova.
I want to talk about something we texted about a little bit, because I was afraid it was going to become a thing, like Gabby's hair, or Gabby during the American anthem during Rio, or another, people telling Black women what to do. I don't know what they showed on the broadcast, but I was afraid that the way they showed the American team and Simone during the broadcast wasn't going to come across as if she didn't cheer hard enough or loud enough or emote at the right times at Suni's success. How did they show the team in the stands when Suni?
They showed them normal. I mean, I didn't see anything that you're. Anytime we saw the team, they were like clapping. Like, everyone was clapping, and then Jordan Childs was being the most because she's Jordan Childs. Like, she was up on her feet and screaming because she's Jordan Childs, and everyone else was like, we're also clapping. Hooray.
Yeah. Of the athletes, right? It was kind of a complicated viewing situation because Andrade was like the last one up who was really a medal contender. And so after her score came up, then it panned over to the Americans, and 3 of the girls were sitting in the stands clapping, and then, like Spencer said, one of them, I didn't remember who, was like
Jordan. She was doing the most.
Was bouncing around. But then when it went to the medal ceremony, everyone was up standing and cheering, and there was. So if anyone takes that as like Simone is bitter, Simone's like, no.
I didn't see any of that. And actually, I didn't see any of that on Twitter either. So if Twitter wasn't saying it, no one's saying it.
Oh, thank God. Okay, good. I was like, not again, not again.
So Amber N asked about Lee Yun-so's floor routine. Someone with like medal implications was going at the same time as Lee Yun-so on floor, so I missed her floor routine.
I did too. I saw the very beginning of it, and then that was it.
This is why we need 4-camera streams, which we have, and it still didn't work for me.
You guys, did y'all see the statement by the FIG
Oh, about
about
men's?
about Daiki?
Yes. Okay, so let's talk about that.
So Hashimoto Daiki was the men's all-around champion, and I didn't realize that this was as controversial as apparently it was. But people have been saying he shouldn't be the champion because of his vault score. And so I have never ever seen the FIG do this. And
Ever.
ever. And the FIG wrote, like, they're Switzerland, right? Like, they're based in Switzerland. They're very neutral. Like, they don't take sides ever. And they made this post with all of the deductions that the judges made. And they were like, this is a valid score. Like, stop harassing Hashimoto, basically.
And they did it in the middle of women's all around. Like, it was during this competition that they put that out on Twitter. And I was like, so they're making a statement, but they don't want to put it out at a time. Like, I don't know. Did they do it because like everybody would be watching now? Or is that just when it was ready? Or were they trying to bury it in all the women's tweets?
I'm so surprised they did this because I'm like, do you know the precedent you're setting now? Because I mean, yeah, we talked about it yesterday where we were like, yeah, I didn't get that vault score for Hashimoto. I thought it was too high. But like, we also thought that about like 15 different routines that day. That's like normal. But they're like, what was about that score? What about that score? So it's weird that that was the one that was picked out because like you could find a lot of people getting a lot of scores in these competitions. But now I'm like, okay, well, let's make a list of the routines that we would like the same treatment for FIG. First of all, comparison of Andrade and Carrie's execution scores on vault, please, from the all-around final. Now you have to do that.
Or just give us receipts all the time like we've been asking for this entire time, and you wouldn't have to make this explanations because we could just see for ourselves.
Well, you know that there is a system, right? Like the
Yeah, it
STS
exists.
judging system where the judges can use their phone as like a judging mechanism, and you can see exactly the deductions that were taken for each skill. Like, these are the receipts we've been asking for, and I don't understand why the FIG won't implement this.
Maybe because that
Well,
that system hasn't paid them as much as Fujitsu.
Well, but
no, it's because you're opening anytime you do more like give people more information, you're opening yourself up to more criticism.
But they're gonna have to, like, you're right, Spencer. They have now set this precedent, and it's gonna become a lot more work for them. So I think that they eventually will move over to some sort of like receipt system, because otherwise they're gonna have to keep putting out statements like this.
Cordelia says apparently FIG was inundated by Chinese fans. Well, if the Chinese fans could get on the receipts thing, could you guys do that for us too? Because we've been asking for years and it hasn't made a difference. So China, let's get together on this. International world peace through gymnastics. Let's get the receipts. Okay, so we're going to get to some of your questions right now. And I would like to tell you all about the another cultural... No, there was a guffaw incident today. It wasn't
still the wrong word.
It wasn't. Are you sure it wasn't a gaffe?
Yes, there was I made a gaffe and it caused a large guffaw.
Excellent use of our vocabulary words.
Thank you guys. It's getting better. Buzzfuzzled. That's the buzzfold.
Bumfuzzled.
Bumfuzzled. You guys, I've got it down. Also, I want to tell you guys about that thing that happened, how I bought something. I thought it was one thing and it turned out to be something very different. And also I want to tell you what Suni placed a food order for being the Olympic all-around champion. What do you think she ordered? I will tell you about that in a second on Behind the Scenes. If you're not a Behind the Scenes member, please join us at gymcastic.com. Join the club tab, and there's even in the forum a way for you guys. There's instructions for how to be a beta tester for our RSS feed, so you can listen to Behind the Scenes on your favorite podcast player. So we'll see you guys. If you're not a Behind the Scenes member, we'll see you guys after the next event, which is floor finals on Sunday in Japan. So, okay.
More than just men's.
Well, yeah, there's other things, but obviously the women are the most important. So that's that.
Well, the women's floor is not that day.
Oh no, it's men's floor. But obviously Zapata is in that one. So it's the most
Okay.
exciting for me personally. So um here's what happened. As Suni was coming in for the press conference, she yelled to someone, "Pizza with extra pepperoni." So that is what you order in Japan when you have just become the Olympic all-around champion. The other thing that
Someone better
happened is
get.
that
She is Olympic all-around champion. You better get that stat. She has people to get that now.
she should have people. They should have had pizza waiting for them, and that should
Yeah,
be her first
really.
sponsor. Not I'm
They
going to
always give
Disney
them these
World.
flowers on the medal stand. I feel like there are a few gymnasts who will get behind this campaign to be like, show up with some pizza instead.
Legit, every gymnast that I have heard who's been finished with their career or the competition has talked about what they're going to eat. Like everyone's just like, I can't wait. Get me a bubbly bub. I don't have to, be on a be at your best uh vegetable serum right now. I can't. Speaking of serums, so I thought that I had gotten honey for my tea because as my voice is very important and it's critical obviously for this beautiful podcast that we do. So I got some honey and I made some tea and I opened the honey and I started to pour the tea out and it was like a white goop, kind of clearish white stuff that came out and I was like, "What is this?" So I was like, "This doesn't like what?" So I turned the package over. What do you guys think it was? Any guesses about what was in that package?
No.
It was a face mask. Like a
Ah.
one of those for your skin face masks. So
So
instead of
why
having
did you think it was honey?
it has a picture of a honey on the it has a picture.
Honey?
It has a picture of honey on the front. Just with a honey drippy thing.
Mm.
One of those. So I thought for sure that's what it was. This is what it looks like. It has see if you're I can't show it to you because I'm not on the video. But yeah, it has like a honeycomb and some honey dripping and then a heart over that. And it says royal
What did someone just realize?
it says royal jelly essence mask on the package. Yeah. So anyway, you guys, sometimes it's important to read things. So anyway, then I just took a bath and put that thing on my face, and that was my first face mask. So I'm sure that's why my face looks amazing if you could see it right now. The other thing that happened today is, I was before we go into the
It's Jessica. Paulo says, "Is Jessica drinking because her video is off?"
It's
guys,
always a valid question.
Today was an extra rough day. Like I definitely can feel that I need the day off tomorrow because today was one of those days. I don't know if this happens to you, Kensley, but like I couldn't remember things and I could only think of the word in German. And
Yes. Oh my gosh, that
Right?
happens to me all the time. I'll be like, Mutza, what the heck is the word? The beanie thing that goes on your yes, I totally empathize.
Yes, I was trying to describe how well the floor is like taken care of here and how people like someone's always running out on the floor to check the seams and like they've taken the floor apart and putting it back together so many times and like they've just cared for this floor like no other floor I've ever seen and how they went over to the beam and they made sure to put a level on it and it's just like they're constantly checking the equipment and making sure it's okay and I was like it's like kumazish like they're caring, they're wrapping. It's like a baby. And I was just looking at Lauren, like, didn't you say he speaks like German? You know this word, right? Like, what is the word? I'm thinking I couldn't. That's the level of tired I am. I can only think of things in German right now. So anyway, yeah. So I'm not drunk. This is just what happens to my brain when I'm very tired. It sounds like I'm drunk. I like that Coop actually wrote in here. Was it beeswax? Like a honey mask? We can't see you. Because I was, of course, holding the thing up. So thank you, fact checker.
Claire asks if we think we'll see Simone in any other finals.
I think she'll do beam. That's my prediction. I think she'll do a double pike dismount and do beam.
I think beam and bars. I don't think we'll see her in anything else.
I mean, my guess is none.
Oh,
But I would love to be wrong.
that could be, which is fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah, there are reports of Skinner back training in the gym, so I think that's
Which she should be doing anyway, though.
Which she should have never stopped training. So that's like what's
I
crazy
think
about
she
this.
did, but I think the thing is she did stop training. Like, I agree with you, Spencer, but the reports were that she had stopped training and was supposed to be going home like yesterday or something, and then she was back in the gym. So I think there's a very high likelihood that we'll see her and Jade as the two Americans in vault final.
Oh yeah, the other thing that happens today is, the military runs the security check that we go through. And so I always have to drink my drink. And because I always bring in like 2 drinks with me, because we're there for hours. I mean, because we have to get here so early to make sure we get like good seats in the media area and don't get stuck in the overflow. So I've been getting in like 4, sometimes 5 hours before the meet starts, just to make sure I'm in a good spot. So anyway, obviously I have to bring my nutrition and my refreshments to stay hydrated so my brain works this well, you guys. So I have to drink my drink, and of course, like, it got really like boring. You have to take a sip to prove it's not poison. So finally, after like, day whatever of taking a sip of my drink, I had to make like a dad joke and pretend to like choke on it, and all the make all the boys laugh. And it's all boys from the Japanese military that are here. So then today I went to drink my drink, and I dropped my drink on the floor, and they all laughed at me in unison, like so loud. And I was like, you guys, please, I'm very delicate now.
What is it going to be next? So tampons, drinks, like
Oh,
what?
God, that's
like
right.
what,
I forgot.
Are you going to like end up spewing like ketchup on them?
Like step on a ketchup package and it's sweet. I mean, I'm trying to think of another. I forgot about the tampon, you guys. Maybe this is why they laughed so hard, because they were like, "Oh, this one's back again. What's she gonna do this time?" So, oh yeah, Cordelia says that Skinner had stopped training because she was gonna leave on Wednesday. That's the thing. It would be why would anyone let her leave? Like when you're.
I know.
That's just crazy. Like that her coaches wouldn't have said, no, you could make it to a final, that USA Gymnastics, that Tom and Annie wouldn't have said, no, please stay, like that. But maybe she's just like, please get me out of USA Gymnastics as fast as I possibly can. So that's why she wanted to go. Yeah. Any other questions, Coop, that you see that we should get to before we call it a night and I get to blissfully lay in bed all day tomorrow and not do anything and just watch Below Deck Mediterranean season? I don't know which season this is. I just need one of those days. Okay, this feed. Let's do this first one from Danielle.
Danielle says, not that it matters, but I'm curious. That's our specialty. Do you think Simone going right after Biles in vault during qualifications negatively impacted her execution score disproportionately more so than if she had gone right after any other gymnast? My non-gym nerd civilian husband happened to be watching with me and saw Simone go, then Michaela was like, whoa, it looks like she got no height. Which, if you compare them side by side, I think it was the Cheng we were watching in particular, the amplitude difference on their blocks is pretty stark. I don't really know to what extent judging can account for this kind of bias. So, first of all, good job, husband, because correct, Simone has the best amplitude, and Skinner's vault is a miracle. Skinner's vault is a medical miracle because she gets it around and lands it under control every time. So this I would not consider as being related to going right after Biles. Skinner is going to get amplitude deductions because her vault is flatter, but she's going to get those deductions every time. So I would not categorize that as like bias of going after someone else. I think, ultimately, I think all the US vaulters were ranked appropriately in qualification.
Yeah, I think everybody that competes with Simone in the same competition has this problem, aka the judges are always supposed to rank you, so that is the bias they're supposed to have purposely. Favorite routine for each of us.
I'm
Brooklyn
actually
Moores.
going to go with a
Brooklyn Moores.
routine that we have not talked about, which was Andrade's bars.
Brooklyn Moores.
I
And
think.
Popa's floor.
Oh yeah, Popa's floor.
A shock Jessica chose 2.
I don't know. I think Popa's vault. Honestly, like that was really beautiful to me.
I like all of our answers.
How about this letter from Beth?
2 questions about the women's competition. In qualifications, Ellie Black's beam score was 13.9, but later appeared as 14.1. Was there an inquiry? I didn't see anything about that. I also saw that her floor was increased on the live scoring. Usually the only reason that would happen is an inquiry, or if it was just like misentered the first time, they were like, oh crap, and then entered it as a 14.1. But I just assumed that there was an inquiry for her D score because it did change on the live scoring. Part B, how does clearing floor music work? I heard Galia which is Melnikova, had to change hers just weeks before the games because she couldn't get clearance for it without a hefty fee from the artist. Do they only need to do this for the Olympics or for televised meets? If it's something that happens at the beginning of every season, shouldn't this not have been a last-minute issue? Does it usually cost much to clear floor music?
So I learned a lot about this that I totally did not understand before, and before participating in the Aurora games and going through the nightmare of clearing music. So the way copyright works, if I just want to go out on the street and perform to music, I am protected in the United States under artistic performance copyright law for fair use. But if someone videotapes me dancing to music and then broadcasts it to other countries and makes money off of it, then or puts it up on YouTube to makes money off of it, then copyright changes. So it's not her using the music, it's the broadcasting of her floor routine with that music in it that changes copyright. So the gymnasts have to submit their music beforehand and have to know who the artist is and which version of the music and all that kind of stuff. And then it has to be cleared to be broadcast. So apparently, whatever she had in her floor music didn't get cleared. The Olympics NBC should be paying for this. It doesn't go to they're paying for the copyright rights. Or the artist can say, you're an athlete, they could say it's the Olympics. This is great publicity for me. Don't worry about it. But the fact that it's NBC, who have more money than God, they obviously want to be paid for the broadcast rights. NBC could just be like, do your routine and we'll cut the beginning of that out. But I'm sure NBC doesn't want to do that. So, like, just cut the sound. So that's how that works.
Shelby says Suni's win completes the decade of U.S. World and Olympic all-around champions, correct? From Jordan Weber to Suni Lee. Last all-around champion who was not from the United States was Alia Mustafina in 2010. For 2021 World's all-around predictions, how could anyone possibly know who's going to compete at that meet? / if it's going to be a meet.
I just submitted my at the last minute today my visa application, which you guys already did because I was like, "Quick, everyone do it!" And then I didn't do mine.
Yes,
until the
Jessica
very last
was
day.
like ASAP all caps email and then didn't do it herself.
But I did it. It just didn't happen until today. What's this question?
What's your best prediction for women's vault finals? Actually, all of the events if Simone doesn't compete.
What, like Andrade, Carey, and Skinner for the podium in some order?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if Andrade vaults the way she did today, Andrade is going to win.
Me too.
Yeah, which would be fantastic. Her vault's just so beautiful. I mean, with Simone not here, she's absolutely, I think, head and shoulders above everyone else.
Yeah.
Oh, the baloney has a question. The baloney has a question. No one
We
knows
already did that question
that. Oh, we
yesterday.
did. Okay.
What happens if 4 people are out of bean final? Simone, Ellie, Flavia, and Larissa. There are only 3 reserves. I don't think we've ever had this happen, have we?
I can't think of an example.
Like, I don't
Like-
actually know what the rules are if 4 people drop out and there's only 3 reserves.
Well,
I
it's like you could theoretically just go to the next
Just go
person in
down.
line, but you have
Yeah,
to
but
know
they may not
soon
be in the
enough, and they might
country.
not still be here, right?
But I mean, yeah, that's true. If they were like, I didn't even make. But let's see. So who are we thinking is going to be out? So Yordaki, maybe. Ellie
Ellie
Black,
Black withdrew from the all-around final.
Simone, and Ellie was in the stands icing, or just had her foot elevated, which was so freaking sad. And then Yordaki, Ellie, Simone. So that means
Flavia.
oh, and Flavia. That's right. So Flavia's for sure out.
No, we're just
Okay, but if.
speculating on.
Okay, but I didn't know. I'm
several of
just
these.
like double checking that I didn't miss it. So we have Ashikawa's in Listy's in Sana Vavers, and then it would go Nina. And Nina's already here because she's made another one, so she would make it in. So that wouldn't be a big deal. If it went all the way, the only way it would be a problem if it all went all the way down to 19th, which is oh no, she's here too. Yuda Verkest from Belgium. She's here. Then it's Yuna. We actually wouldn't have a problem until it went down to maybe Boye is 22nd. Most of these people are all here.
You guys, Luba just posted an interview that was translated with Horkina on Simone Biles.
Oh, Christ.
No, it's not bad.
What?
I know. So the question was, do you think Biles got the twisties? And Horkina said, yes, untwisting elements. I've rewatched the team final, the moment when Simone does vault, many times. She definitely got lost in the air, and it's terribly dangerous. Very fortunately, Biles is so physically strong and well coordinated that she landed on her feet.
Oh.
Who said that quote and put Horkina's name on
No,
it?
like the title of the interview is Horkina said, Simone is not a robot, she's human. And it like makes me wonder, like, did Horkina have the twisties and like is actually able to empathize?
Every gymnast that has gotten to an elite level minimum has had the twisties. Reese posted a picture of him almost landing on his head with the twisties. I mean, I never even did anything hard, and just trying to learn a Rudy, I got twisties, and it made me feel like I was gonna puke. So, wow, I'm so shocked by this, you guys. Horkin has a soul. Who knew? She hides it so well. Oh, we have one more letter here. Sheila says, "Can you speculate on what might happen if Simone doesn't?" Oh, we already got that one. Oh, duh. Okay, Cassidy, Elliott.
Does Suni have to tell someone that she's only doing 3 passes because her music is different?
No. No. She can do whatever she wants. Last question.
Watching gymnast intros today, if 2 gymnasts who have the same coach, say the Gadarova twins, were both to qualify for the all-around but were placed in different rotations, how would that be handled? So ideally, when you have 2 people with the same coach on the team, you can do a like Laurent and Cecile situation where because there's everyone has more than one coach, so both coaches could go. But otherwise, like that coach is just doing some running.
Yeah, there's a lot of running around. A whole lot of running around goes on. If you're a coach, you need to be able to sprint through an obstacle course of podiums, or you're not in shape to coach elite. This is why the Miss has got a scooter from Parkettes. Does that mean Billie Eilish earned $1 million from the Olympics? Probably. Yeah. There was 100 Billie Eilishes, and also what's the other
Pentatonics.
Music?
There was a lot of pentatonics.
Yeah. Is that how you say it? Pentatonics? Like a pentagram? I always thought it was pentatonics.
It's based on the the pentatonic scale, and then they decided because there's 5 people, that's how they came up with their name, and then they decided to use an X to make it more like
Cool.
popular, cool, yeah.
Jessica, why did you think that your impression of how something was spelled was going to be right? Like, what are we doing here?
And with that, Jessica has officially reached her timeline. We're almost to the hour and a half mark. She needs a break. We need a break. We need to sleep.
Good one, Kensley.
We'll see you next time.
Okay, guys. All right, we're off for the next 2 days because obviously, oh my god. And also, thank you so much. We could not do this without you. I hope you guys have been enjoying our work here. If you love us, subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher, join the club. And we take off a gay split on rights. Remember to shave your balls. This is Gymcastic. We'll see you in 2 days.